resume. All right, so what I was talking about is let me first grab my headsets. Just a moment, let me just grab my headsets, then I come. Okay, hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. Just confirm if I'm recording, and yes, I am. And my microphone is on. That's okay. All right. So what I was saying, when you log into your account, okay, should be something like this. You log in, and you could see, user center, my course, my information, identity. You don't have to go through all that. But when you log in, you'll see this, and you see something. For you, it will be start learning. Mine is start teaching because I'm an instructor, so it shows start teaching. I only have around 7 people registered now. Class is still ongoing, and I think we're going up to around next. Wait. This is what? March 8th. Oh, it's okay. But all I'm saying, I think I can extend it. I can modify it. It's okay. I'll modify it for the lost days, some of the days that we've lost. But all I'm saying is when you come here and click on start learning, it will take you to something like this. So this is what I was talking about. This is what shows your online activity, like you online. So I would request that you at least a day you log in and look through some of the things and read through. I'm not saying you should be reading online. To some people it can be difficult because they don't have data and maybe they don't have the time, they are busy. But this is where you'll find this is where you'll find the quiz. For example, now here at the end of each chapter, for example, data communication network basics should be basics, not basis. Network basics. You see introduction, communication and networks, network types and topology types, network engineering, all those things you've looked through. These are reading materials, and then this is the quiz. So at the end of each chapter, you should be able to take a quiz. For example, this is the quiz. You see, you say star network is robust and therefore not prone to faults. So if you believe it's true, you say true. If you don't believe it's true, you say fail. Something like that. This is just quiz. You don't have to be scared of anything. You can actually do this as many times as you want, just to, for something to stick in. You get. So you use this platform as many times as you can. Okay. You use it as many times as you can. Oh crap. You people, you're not telling me that. Are you sure you're seeing my screen? Highly doubt. You did not tell me. Just a moment. Let me. Are you people seeing my screen? Were you able to, were you
just a poor network? I can't load. When I try to load.
Just a second. I forgot I'd changed the network because I didn't want you to see the unboxing bit. Let me share my screen. Hopefully now you can see. Please mute whoever that is. If you're not speaking, just mute, okay? That is Ricky. Ricky, you mute.
I'm not seeing. I'm just loading.
It's just loading. Is it the case with everyone? Can you see this web page here? Can someone see this web page here?
I can see your screen. I'm seeing you navigating through.
Yeah,
You're scrolling up
yeah,
and down.
yeah. I think it's issues with the network with some of the guys.
Yeah, network is a problem.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay. This is the page I was talking about. Anyway, if you missed this part,
I can see it now.
okay, okay, okay. So if you're not talking, you can mute for now. When you want to speak, you can unmute. All right. So this is what I was talking about. So this is how Huawei sees, because now the last year it was the number of certifications that was the goal. So they set in like a target that this is the number of certifications that we want this year. But this year's target is kind of different. They want online status. How many people are online, and how they know how you're online is by logging into this, logging into your account, and then you're coming to this page, going through this, doing quiz. Quiz can be really helpful. You can do it as many times as you want. You don't have any limit. Okay. And then each chapter has a quiz. You can see after reading all through this, there is quiz. You go to Huawei VRP, there is quiz. Network layer, subnetting, all that, ICMP and everything, there is quiz. So after each and every chapter, you can go through the quiz to test yourself of what you've covered through that chapter. Okay, it's really important that you do. It gives you, at least it gives you that confidence, because if you do this and then you fail it and no, oh, I failed this one, then you redo, that gives you the confidence, and you get to understand the answer. So quiz is everywhere, and at the end of all the chapters we have what we call a final exam. All right, we have what we call a final exam. So this one you're seeing here, oh, someone is having issues with creating a Huawei account. I think we're gonna do that tomorrow. I think we should start with that tomorrow. Some people, I believe, they are not online, not because they don't want to, but they're just not online because maybe they're having issues either with Discord or opening the account. For those who already know how to open the accounts, for those people you know them, you can guide them, please. You can do that for me. So I was talking about the final exam. Now this exam, I wouldn't say do it. All right, I wouldn't say do it. This one here, I don't want you to do it, because now this is going to be your, it's more like going to be your, it's going to be your what, your mock exam, like you see here. Okay, this is going to be your mock exam, ACIA data conversion 1 mock exam. So this will determine if you're going to have the voucher or not, and the pass score is just 60%, though set score for you to qualify for the voucher, like I told you, they had hiked it a little to about 80 something, 85, 80, I believe 80 can do. We'll see as it goes on, but this is what it is. So if you click on start exam, there's no going back. You have to do the exam. So I wouldn't recommend that you do this right now. I'll set the time for this. Right now you don't have to do it. Okay, you don't have to really do it right now. So we'll do it a little later. This will be the determinant to whether you qualify for the voucher or not. So don't do it before before you you're ready, I would say. Okay, just go through the quiz. At the end of each chapter there is a quiz for you. Just do quiz, read through the material. You can read online if you can, or you can read the notes that were shared on Telegram, but you have to get online to do the quiz, to test yourself at the end of the chapter. What do I know? Most of these concepts within this chapter that will really guide you and help you understand most of these things. And when I share the question dump, I don't think most of the things will be clear for you. I don't want you to start with the question dump. I want you to start with at least testing yourself, building that confidence. and then the test dump or the question dump will come in as a supplement, and then we'll prepare for our exam, something like that. I do believe we're gonna have some time to prepare, because I think the first batch of the vouchers are getting done, so I think mine is going to come in the next batch, and that will depend on how many students I have, and those who will be qualified, who would have qualified to receive a voucher. So I do believe we'll have enough time to really read through and understand these things. Me, I'll be available even at the end of the class. I'll be available for any questions. We can arrange maybe some time to just go through questions, understanding them, maybe breaking them down. For some questions which you don't understand, I'll be available to break them down for you, so you don't have to worry about that. So this is it. There is nothing much I'll do, and at the end of the final exam, after doing at the end of the course, I would say you'll have to do this satisfaction survey. Okay, you will have to do the satisfaction survey. For those who have done who have been part of the Cisco Networking Academy, you already know about this. This survey thing is normally there every time, like every after chapter or something, or at the end of the course, you have to do this satisfactory survey, and you have to do the final exam, something like that. All right, I think we should begin now. That's it for now. Hey, if I go to the slides, in case you want to check your grades, you can just click here. I believe this will take you to the gradebook. This will take you to the gradebook. Let me see. Issues with creating Huawei account. Tomorrow is correct. Looks wrong. Anyway, so this is more like where your gradebook is, like your quiz. Okay, final exam. So your quiz is more like 44% of your score, and then the final exam is about 56% of your score, so something like that. So yeah, and then this is where you would see your progress, how much you've progressed in learning. Okay, like what you've learned. Mine is showing 2% because I've been just clicking through the chapters like that. Okay, this would be notes in case there are notes, you can get notes from here. And then discussions, unless if you're cutting out any discussions with your colleagues, your discussions will be here, like your posts, your responses. Maybe someone is asking a question, you can come in here and answer using this platform. So yeah, it is something like that. All right, back to the slides. Hopefully people are still there. I might be talking alone. All right, so let me go through.
we are available.
Okay, so let's go through our chapter, which is our third chapter, and it's talking about the Huawei VRP, which is the versatile routing platform. It is the software that is run on Huawei devices, or that makes Huawei devices function. So it is more like the brain for Huawei devices. It's called the VRP, versatile routing platform. So on completion of, these are some of the objectives. On completion of this course, you should be able to understand VRP basics, learn how to use the CLI, which is the command line interface, and then you should be able to master basic CLI commands. I need to check if I'm still recording. I don't want to, at the end of the course, sorry, the lecture, when I don't have anything. Okay, So you should be able to understand basic CLI commands. That is, simple commands like command line interface commands. And then you should also learn how to use the command line interface, and you should also understand the VRP Basics, which is the versatile routing platform basics. So VRP short is VRP, and long or full meaning is versatile routing platform. So we're going to be looking at the VRP overview. So what is VRP? Okay, so VRP is a universal operating system platform for Huawei datacom products. It serves as the software core engine of Huawei's full series of routers from low end to core ones, Ethernet switches, service gateways, and so on. So VRP provides the following functions. Someone might ask me, hey, but Huawei also makes phones. Does the phones having, are the phones running the VRP? No. That will be Harmon always or something. These are, we're talking about networking equipment on the low end, high end, but on the enterprise kind of direction, not user end, final user or phones. Let me just make it clear like that. So VRP provides the following functions. Provides a unified user interface and a unified management interface. We have a unified user interface for the user and a management interface. It implements the functions of the control plane and defines the interface specifications of the forwarding plane. We have what we call a control plane, and we have what we call a forwarding plane. Just a moment. Let me see this. Comments now. Comments. Okay, we have what we call a control plane, where it's more like all the controls of the device are. Okay, then we have the forwarding plane. Forwarding plane is where you will find like your routing tables, your MAC address tables. Okay, and then we have the control planes, more like where the brains are. And then we are VRP also implements communication between the device forwarding plane and the VRP control plane. We're going to be looking at most of those. So we have VRP, and within that we have routing, we have security, wireless, switching. It incorporates all those. We have routing. Okay, VRP as a platform, as and always, can do routing, can supports routing, supports security. Just a second. Supports security. Yeah. That. Okay, supports routing. Wow, people are really having issues, but the problem is they were not reporting the issues. They're just reporting now that I've asked. You should report the issues. If you're having an issue joining or using the app, you just have to ask. People who have joined, they can guide you. Anyway, I think I'll use some time tomorrow to get those who are having issues. So VRP as a platform can do security, can do routing, can do switching, and can do wireless. Can do all those. Okay. So this is the OS, the operating system for Huawei. Okay. And these are some of the functions that this OS can support: routing, switching. Someone's complaining about the class. Oh, sorted. Okay. My network is too poor and I'm not getting anything. Maybe I'll watch the pre-recorded. It's okay. It's fine. I know network can be bad in some areas. It's fine. All right, so it can support all these. This VRP as the operating system, just as you will have the Android operating system or the Apple iOS supporting some features or something like that. So this is the same. This is the operating system for these networking devices. Like we said, for example, we said routers. Okay, we say the Ethernet switches, service gateways, and so on. Okay, we even have wireless devices. So all those devices there. So development of the VRP. Okay, so we have VRP 1, more like version 1, which is centralized design applicable to low-end and mid-range devices, but it had low performance. Those are some of the characteristics of VRP version 1, which was, I think, the initial one that was created. And it had centralized design. It had it was only applicable to low and mid-range devices, although it had poor performance. The performance was low. And then we had version 2, which was distributed design. That was this one was between 1998 to 2001, and this one was was released between 1999 to 2000. And then we had VRP 3, which is a distributed platform. It supports various features, okay, compared to version 2 and version 1, and it also supports core routing or core routers. So we had core routers running this platform, and that was between 2000 to 2004. That's the release time. Okay, and then we have VRP 5. Okay, then we go VRP 5, and it is component-based design applicable to various Huawei products and high performance. This was between 2004 up to now. This is being used to within these devices, the AR devices and the S series devices like S57. Okay, the S5700 series core switches. I'll say they're more like switches. I'll say switches. I'm not gonna say core switches. When I say core, I kind of mean like a layer 3, but some of these do layer 2, but I do believe some of those do layer 3. I think S57 do layer 2, if I'm not mistaken. I think on S58, S50, is it S58? I think so. No, I think it's a 68. No, I think this should be a CE. I don't think we have an S68. I'm not certain. Have to look through that, but I know there is a CE Cloud Engine 6800 series. That one is there. I'm certain. So then we have multi-purpose process, multi-chassis, and multi-core, which means this is for multi-purpose high-end devices. Those are the ones running this version. So normally the versions that you're going to see right now being used on Huawei platform devices, you see version 5 and version 8. Version 5, you see them on the AR devices. These ones you see AR routers, okay, and then the S series switches, you will find version 5. And then when you come to the CE, the cloud engines, and the NE40s, okay, the net engines, you'll find that they are running VRP version 8. So VRP version 8 is multi-purpose, multi-process, component-based, supports for multi-CPU and multi-chassis, which means you can have more than just one CPU, from within these devices. All right, you can have more than one CPU. These are chassis based. A chassis is more like something that, okay, I would say, let me use one word, they are modular. Okay, they have modular configurations, right? They have modular configurations, don't compare to these ones which have fixed configurations. right? Those ones have fixed configurations. What do I mean by fixed configurations? It means if this switch router, in case this air router here comes with only, for example, let's say 1, 2, 3, 3 Ethernet ports or G ports, so let me say GE ports, you cannot add. There is no space for you to add more ports. They have fixed configurations. If this comes with 48 ports, okay, if this comes with 48 ports, you only have those 48 GE ports, okay? You cannot add. The only thing you can do is buy another one like this one, and then you increase on the ports. But with these ones which are modular, it means they have more, the chassis is big, and they have more slots where you can plug your cards, for example, network cards, like maybe GE or optical, cards. So you can just come and remove the cover, and then you plug your card there. Okay, you can just plug your card there. These are modular. That's what it means. So this is the support for multi CPU and multi chassis, which means you can have more than one chassis. Okay, so these ones are normally it's a single chassis or something. If you want to have two, then you maybe you can buy another one. Then you stack those two switches to create another chassis, something like that. Though it's not pluggable, or where you can maybe remove. Let's say if this was a chassis, you remove this card with just 48 ports, and then maybe you can plug one with, maybe, for example, let's double 48. That will be what, 96, if my mathematics is correct. Should be 96, 48, 96. Yeah, so about 96. Now with these ones you cannot, but with these ones you can. You just have, okay, you bought it with just 2 cards, maybe having a couple of Ethernet ports. You can order for more cards. It doesn't come with all the cards. That depends on if you want. I think coming with the cards depends on the price. You can say, I want it all plugged with these all the chassis filled with the cards and these specific cards, and that is now more money for you to incur. The same thing with this guy here. Or you can just buy for now as it is, maybe with a couple of ports, and then at the end of the day, in case you're expanding, and then you can just buy a card and just slot it inside here, the chassis. All right, let's go next. So the file system manages files and directories in storage media, allowing users to view, create, rename, and delete directories, and copy, move, rename, and delete files. That is the file system. So mastering the basic operations of the file system is crucial for network engineers to efficiently manage the configuration files and VRP system files of devices. So you need to understand the file system of the VRP, the Huawei VRP file system. All right, you have to understand how to navigate it, okay, how to view the files in the file system, all right, how to delete, how to create a file, how to rename a file, how to delete. For people who have done Linux, you should be able to understand this. It's more like the same. Commands are the same. It's more like Linux. So the commands you use to create a file on a Linux system, it is the same. Rename a file is the same. Delete a file is the same. Create directories is the same. Copy a file, move a file, rename a file, delete a file. It is the same thing. It doesn't really change a lot. Actually, it doesn't change at all. I don't think it changes at all. Navigating it is the same. Mastering the basic operations of the file system is crucial for network engineers. You have to understand how to navigate really the operating system, so that you can efficiently manage the configuration files and also manage the VRP system files of the device. For example, like the CFG file. Okay, I think it's called CFG. If I'm not mistaken, that should be a CFG file. So that is the .cfg file, which is the configuration file for VRP. I'll correct that. No, I think it is. Yeah, it is here. CFG. It is here. So it is the CFG file. We do have zip file, we do have .dat file. Okay, so these are different files. You have to understand what each extension. This will be an extension, yeah, a .cfg, .zip, .dat. These are all extensions which stands for different file types within the VRP file system. So this one will be for the configuration file. Okay, it has that configuration for the configuration file, and then this .zip can be also a configuration file. It can also stand for that. .dat, these are normally for, I think this .dat is for the patch files, if I'm not mistaken. These are for patch files. Okay, these ones are for patch files there. So the system software is a must for device startup and operation. So it is more like just as you would have your Windows computer. You go buy your computer without the operating system. It is, of course, of no use. You need an operating system for you to interface with all the resources that you have on a computer, with the memory, with the storage, and all other stuff. Or with the CPU power, you need the operating system really to manage all those resources. So the operating system, the system software or the operating system is a must for device startup and operation, providing support, management, and services for a device. So the common file name extension is a .cc. So if you see a .cc, okay, this is for the Huawei operating system file. It could be maybe for example CE6800, for example, maybe -02, maybe .001, or like maybe 001, but then it will end with a .cc. The moment you see this is the operating system within the Huawei VRP. We're gonna navigate those, and I'll check with you. We'll check that. So then we have a patch. A patch is a kind of, actually a patch is the part, not .dat. I'll look at .dat. A patch is a kind of software compatible with the system software. It is used to fix bugs in system software. I think programmers and software developers, you know about these patches. We have software patches to fix bugs in your software. So the common file name extension is a .pat. That is for the patch. And then a configuration file stores configuration commands, enabling a device to start with the configuration in the file. So the common file name extensions are .cfg. Okay, it can be a .zip, it can be a .dat. I think a .dat is one you okay, I think I get it. A .dat is one you've set as a backup. For example, let's say you have a configuration file stored on your device, and you want to modify it, or you want to maybe save your configuration as this configuration as a backup. It can be a .dat. That's what I'm thinking. A .dat. I know most of them is a .bat, but I think .bat and .dat could be meaning the same thing if I'm not mistaken. So this could be like a backup. So you can save your startup configuration file as .dat, and then I do believe the operating system will ignore this and start with the default configuration file. But these are extensions for the configuration files. And then we have a path file, effectively controls product features and resources. The common file extension is a .bin. That is a PAF file. It effectively controls the product features, okay, like the features within the product, within the operating system, what it can do, what features it can support. These features and resources, the common file name for that extension is a .bin, right? So we have system software, we have a configuration file, we have patch file, and a path file. So you can tell, or hopefully by now you can tell what is the importance for each of the system software. It is for startup and operation, providing support, management, and services for device. So the common file extension, we said, is a .cc. Okay, it's a .cc, and then the configuration file could be a .cfg. That's of mine. A .cfg. It can be a .zip. It can be a .dat. Okay, and then the patch file, it is a .pat, which is .pat, and the path file, it could be a .bin. Right, so you have to understand some of those things. Next, we have the storage media. Storage media includes the SD-RAM. Okay, we have the flash memory, we have the NVRAM, SD card, which most of you know, and then we have the USB. Okay, you can plug in USB. So a router or a switch can have a USB port, all right, where you can plug your USB, USB memory stick. And then we have the SD card. So some devices, not all devices have USB ports, and not all platform devices have SD cards. Some which have support for that, they have the SD cards. And then NVRAM is inbuilt. Okay, that is inbuilt. I think it's on board. All right, that one is on board. It is on board. And then we have the flash memory, which is also on board. Can be on board or off board. Can be on board or off board. Some are pluggable. You can just plug it in. And then we have the SD-RAM. Okay, we have the SD-RAM. So the NVRAM is non-volatile random access memory. Non-volatile meaning, this is the key statement, meaning all information, all right, all information stored in this memory is lost, okay, when it loses power. That is losses. This is loses. When it loses power, right? So when your devices, for example, let's say you were working on your computer. Okay, for example, you are configuring the router, right? And you configure the host name of the device, the system name, for example, and you configure the other things. I'll stick on the host name. So without saving, if power goes off and comes back on, this host name you see here that you had configured will not come back. It won't be there, because this configuration before it is saved, it is in the NVRAM. Okay, wait, yes, non-volatile random access. Wait, no, sorry, no, non-volatile random access memory. No, this is no. No, I'm mistaken. I think I'm talking about something different. No, non-volatile is the one that doesn't. No. Sorry guys. This information is wrong. Just a moment. Let me clear. This information is wrong. Sorry. Let me remove it. Okay, so there is what we call just a moment. Okay, this one here is what we call random access memory, which is RAM, which is volatile. Okay, and then we have NVRAM, which is non-volatile. Non-volatile means it does not lose its content when it loses power, but RAM does. For example, when I'll give an example of I think with the operating systems like Microsoft Windows 10, Windows 11, some applications are built into autosave auto backup when in case you don't backup. But if you've used Microsoft Office for long, from the times of Windows XP, you'll find that when you're working maybe on a document and you've typed a couple of sentences, and then your computer goes off. For example, if you're using a laptop, which is a desktop, your computer goes off. By the time you put it back on to check and see if this information is still there, you find that it is all gone. Maybe you will only have the first few sentences that you had saved. You get that information. All this information is stored in RAM. When the computer boots up, the whole entire operating system runs in RAM. It is in RAM, random access memory. Okay, it is in RAM. So if you don't save, anything within RAM is lost when RAM. Okay, everything stored in RAM, it is lost when RAM loses power, or when your device loses power. So NVRAM is non-volatile. It does not lose power. It does not lose its content when it loses power. Okay, then RAM is volatile. It loses its content when it loses power. So NVRAM is non-volatile random access memory. It is used to store log buffer files. Logs will be written into the flash memory after the timer expires of the or the full expires, or the buffer is full. Then we have the flash. The flash memory is non-volatile. It also doesn't lose its content. Okay, non-volatile means does not lose content when it loses power. That's what it means. Volatile, it's the reverse of the other one. Okay, so the flash memory is non-volatile and can avoid data loss in case of a power off. It is used to store system software like the operating system, the ones which end with a .cc, if you remember, a .cc, okay, or a .cfg, all those configurations. So it is used to store system software, configuration files, and so on. Patch files and path files are uploaded by the maintenance personnel and generally stored in the flash memory or on the SD card, if you have an SD card on your device. And then there's what we call SDRAM. SDRAM is synchronous dynamic random access memory, which is equivalent to a computer's memory. It stores the system information and parameters. That is for the SDRAM, or the synchronous dynamic random access memory. And then we have the SD card. The SD card can avoid data loss, data in case, I think there is a repetition here. The SD card can avoid data loss in case of this is out. Data loss in case of power off. The SD card has a large storage capacity and is generally installed on a main control board. It is used to store system files, configuration files, log files, and so on. And then we have the USB. The USB is considered an interface. It is used to connect to a large capacity storage medium for device upgrade and data transmission. So you can just plug in your USB into your device when it has maybe an upgrade file, and you just will get the upgrade file direct from the USB to your device, or upgrade it from your USB, something like that. Okay, let's go next. We have the device initialization process. So after device is powered on, it runs on. It's more like as you see when you put on your computer, it just doesn't boot right into the graphical user interface. It first goes through a process, loads the operating system, it does the post, okay, the power on test. It loads into the operating system. Sorry, it loads the operating system into RAM, and all those things. I believe you do see your computers as they are booting. So all those processes, just as they happen on the normal computers, they also do happen on these network devices. Actually, a router is a computer in short. Okay, a router is a computer in short, but with some bit of sophistication. I'm gonna buy myself with some bit of upgrade specifically for given purposes, which are different from what you see with a computer. So after device is powered on, it runs the boot ROM software to initialize the hardware and display hardware parameters. Then it runs the system software and reads the configuration file from the default storage path to perform initialization. I think I'm going to show you that. I'll show you with I think I will show you with a Huawei device, if I'm not mistaken. I do believe I have a Huawei device. Just a moment, let me open my GNS here. Okay, I think I might need to also open this guy here. I'll show you with one. Let me see. Network. Watch network editor. Oh, I need to stop this guy. Let's see this come out. Just a moment. Let me see if it's going to work. If not, I have to first reset the adapter. Normally I get those issues with GS3. It's taking long. Let me first close it. Open it here. It's taking long to close. Let me see. This is running. I need to stop it. It's taking longer than I expect. Just a moment. Just give me a moment. Let me first start this. I want to start the GNS3 so that it keeps running in the background as I'm doing other things. Let me just force this to stop. Let me go to the virtual network editor. I've tried to reset these things back to okay, this is just an issue that happens with GNS3, so most of the time I have to reset the adapter. GNS3 with VMware, so I just have to reset the adapter so that it starts properly. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Nothing much of a big deal. It could be a plus in case you want to learn something extra, but this is just as I do believe something to do like a bug or something with GNS3 and VMware. So I'll go back to GNS3. Just a moment, let me open it. I would use this one, but this one is not going to show you what I mean. It won't give you exactly what I want, because if I'm to start this one, for example, if I start it, it runs like a something that is compressed, like a compressed file. It doesn't show you all the process. You can just see just showing you these pound symbols. Doesn't show you exactly how things happen. It's just running this, so you're not seeing anything. So what I want to show you is this statement here, this one here. After a device is powered on, it runs the boot ROM software to initialize the hardware and display hardware parameters. Then it runs the system software and reads the configuration file from the default storage path to perform initialization. So this is what I want to show you. It's something like that. So it does show initialization. Okay, start memory test, copying data down and compressing. It does that, then reaches that thing, then boots. It's gonna boot using this. You can see this one. Now this is the operating system. This is the image file. Okay, this one here, AR2220E. Now this is the model of the device, and then this is the version of the operating system. all right, and then .cc is the extension to indicate now this is the operating system, or this is the image file for that device. Let's find out if the other one has boot. So you can see this one, it has come to this point, but you see it did not show you anything, just showing you all this. So it runs as a compressed file, a compressed operating system. But if I'm to check display flash, wait a second, display flash, wait, let's call display. I'm getting commands already here. Wait, I'm forgetting commands already. Remember, like it's supposed to be displayed. Where is F? In F is FTP. I think it's no flash. I'm gonna come to it. I'm forgetting the command. Though, let me first show you what I want. So I'm just gonna get a new project here called system boot. So I'm gonna get a router here. I'll get the Huawei router here, and I'm gonna start that one there, and I'll open to console. So this is it. This is real life. This is more like actually the real equipment, though it's virtualized in this network. This is an actual operating system for this device, so it should boot just as normal, though it's taking forever, which is not normal. I'll get back to this and I'll show you later on. Is it supposed to open with this? Oh, no. I think it's not supposed to open with this. That's why it's showing like that. So I'm gonna first stop it. I'll configure first and I'll change it to VNC. Apply, start it again, and then open it. Okay, now you can see the issue was the other side. So it does, all these things here. See, now booting WinRiver Linux, it will boot this, and then at the later stage it will boot to the right operating system. This is what happens initially. Let me see. Someone is yawning. Someone is angry.
My mic is on. I'm sorry.
Okay, this is taking longer than I expect. Let me see if I can do with a firewall. I want to use a Huawei device, so that's why I'm doing this. Okay, let's do with a firewall. I think firewall is booting. You can see this initial static awk. All these different messages, that's what I'm trying to mean. Okay, so these messages here, as it's loading boot VM Linux, okay, loading boot BusyBox, initialize, I think this is initializing, something like that, then static, okay, like it goes everything and it has to confirm this is okay. If it's not okay, it might lead to a stage where it doesn't really continue into anywhere. Let me see where this is now. Oh, this one has gone actually. So you can see all these messages, all these logs, outputs. Switch to clock, sure, system N, all that crap there. So link is not ready. IPv6, you can see when it's doing this. I think it's doing auto configuration, which I don't want. So I can do random non-blocking pool is initialized. So this is what I mean. It does to go through all these things, testing each and everything before it really goes to the final stage. Okay, before it goes to the final stage, this is what it does go through to up to the point or the interface that you normally see on most of the devices. Let me just grab one for Cisco, which is quicker. Let me do 2690. These ones boot faster. So if I have to start this one and I go into it, oh, this one is compressed also. Sorry, this one is compressed, but it does show some of the messages. You can see that all these things here. So this one's boot faster, and I can get into the device, all those log messages, until it gets to this interface here where you can enter some commands, enable, secret this, secret Cisco, and a couple of stuff. So that is what I wanted to show you, though I wanted to show you with Huawei devices, because now the topic is on Huawei. I don't see why you have to be in the different file. Is taking forever from that part. I think also it needs this. So this part here, I'll leave this to finish in the background. At least I've shown you what I wanted to show you. These messages here, that's what much of what I wanted to show you. All right, so back to this guy. So all this information, and then it shows you that it's now booting this operating system, because it's set in a file. Okay, it is set here. Okay, display display startup. You can see, if I say display startup, it will tell me everything, what is startup saved configuration, what is going to be booting from, and next startup saved configuration. In case you modify and set, you can do that. We'll look at all that. So let me see. Display. No, I'm forgetting that command really. Anyway, let me first go back here. We'll come to it. So this is it. This is the initialization process. That's how it initializes. And then device management. There are two commonly used device management modes: the CLI and web system. So we can access the CLI. CLI is when you're just entering the commands. For example, like getting here, and then you're just getting the commands. You're not getting any graphical user interface. So we have the command line, which is the CLI. For example, I can say system view, and then I can say I can go and say interface. Hope you can see all these. If you can see this, let me try to maximize it. Or maybe let me try to increase on the indent, the text size just here. It should be within. Should be here, I think. CLI display lines. Is it font? So let me increase this to something like it is on 12. Let me put it on 16. I see. Is that visible, or I increase?
It's visible.
Okay, so something like this, and maybe I can say interface, or maybe I can run some show commands, display current configurations, and then gives me all these things here. If I want to go and give an interface, I can say interface. You can just enter it as it is. I'm just copying and pasting, and I go on interface. I can display this. So that is navigation. So that is the CLI. Okay, you can navigate and make changes, create something, configure something using the CLI, the command line interface. CLI is short for command line interface. So I can use CLI, or I can use the web system. The web system is via the graphical user interface, which means this device must have been configured with something. Okay, must have been configured with something. All right. For example, an IP, and then I just have to plug the cable maybe in a given port, and then I'm accessing, like maybe I have a management IP, and then from that management IP I can access this device via the web, and I configure everything within the web. I will have an example of that, but it will be in GNS3. I don't think it's no, actually even here it's possible. We can have it. Let me see if I have ever had something like that. Kingfisher. No, I'll check. Oh, I should be having it somewhere. I'm not sure where. I'll check in case I have it, but via the graphical user interface. So you use the web interface to configure. So to use a device management mode, you must first log into the device through a login mode supported by this device management mode. So we have the web system, where you use the graphical user interface. You open a web browser and then you input the IP of the device. For example, your device browser can be normally recommended is Chrome these days. It used to be Explorer, but Explorer, I think they are no longer putting out updates for Explorer, and even Windows 11 doesn't have Explorer. Actually, it has Edge only. So any of the browsers, and then you just have to input your IP, the IP of the device, the IP configured on the router or the switch that you're managing, and that's it. And maybe what protocol it's using, either port 80 or port 443, any of those two, and then you can access that device and configure it via the web interface. So the web system provides a graphical user interface, which is the GUI, the GUI, most of you call it GUI, for easy device management and maintenance. This method, however, can be used to manage and maintain only some, not all device functions. So the web system supports the HTTP, which is port 80 that I've talked about, and HTTPS, which is port 443 login modes. So the CLI, we have the CLI now. The CLI requires users to use commands provided by a device to manage and maintain the device. So this mode implements refined device management, but requires users to be familiar with the commands. So this one is more like difficult. You have to really know the commands. This one, it's easier. Why? It's because graphical. Something that you look at, you just have to read out and say, okay, this is required. They want me to input this. Maybe they're asking username. Configure username. So it's actually showing their username, or maybe system name. System. Excuse me. Like system name. So it will you just have to input the system name. For example, if I want to call this router or switch, I want to call it router 1, like that. Excuse me. Just excuse me for a second. Let me just grab a glass of water. Let me first pause. Alright, so the CLI, you have to understand the commands. I was saying with the web system or the graphical user interface, you just have to click. But with the, you just have to click and then you input the router name, for example, router 1, or device name, for example, router 1. But with the CLI, you have to accompany this with a command. For example, you need to configure system name. You say sysname or system name. Okay, you can say sysname or the system name, for example, like this, and then you configure that system name. So if I go here and I just type, for example, where was it? It's right here. So if I come to this device and I say system and I say sysname, all right, and I configure the name. So you have to know that command. This is the command. This one here. Okay, this one here is the command. You have to understand that command in order for you to configure the name. So if I just come and say router, if I just come and say router 1, it is going to show me an error. It's going to say, no, I don't recognize that. Okay, I don't recognize this, because this is not a what? This is not a command that I understand. So these are just commands. You have to first input the command, the router that the router or the device understands, in order for you to input this. Right? That's why I'm saying unrecognized command found at this marker here. If you see the marker there, found at that marker, I don't understand that, because that is not a command, that is an argument. So we have what we call a command. Okay, a command is what the router understands. An argument is what you want, for you, what you want to input. For example, an IP can be an argument that you want, because you choose to say, I want this IP, to use this IP on this device. I want to assign this name to this device. For example, the system name. Okay, the system name. That can be an argument. Maybe you're creating for example, you're creating you're creating maybe a security profile, and you say my profile is going to be, for example, it's going to be called secure as a name. So this is an argument, right? But for you to have this, the system name, for example router 1, this one here, as a system name, okay, you have to accompany this IP thing. Okay, IP can be IP, as IP is a command actually, but what I meant when I said IP, I mean the actual value of this. Okay, for example, the 192.168.1. maybe 10 as an IP that you want to configure to that device. This can be an argument, right? But as a command is, for example, if you want to configure this IP on the interface, you have to first go under the interface by saying interface this and that, and then you say IP address. Okay, and then this is the command, right? And what follows after that is the argument. For example, 192.168.168 maybe dot. Why am I writing up, going up? People will end up bending following me. Let me write here. So it will be like IP address. For example, after that is 192.168.1.10, right? The 1.1.10. So the 1.10 or 1.0, 1.10, and then a subname mask, maybe I'll say 24. For example, if I just denote it like that, like a side annotation, so /24, and then this one here will come as an argument, because this can be any IP that you choose or you prefer, but these two are the commands that the router will understand and says, oh, he wants to configure an IP. This is what tells the router what you want to do. If you say IP address, you want to configure an IP address. Okay, if you say sysname, it means you want to configure a system name or a host name, right? So this tells the router what you want to do, which is the command. So routers understand commands. So if I say system, just a second, wrong place. If I say system, okay, if I say system and I say router, what happened? These wireless keyboards, my battery is getting done. And I say router 1 and I enter, you can see now the system name changes from Huawei to router 1. You getting me? So that's it. You just have to input the command. In this case, the command is system, and then whatever comes after that is the argument. This can be any name you choose. It doesn't have to be router 1. Can be your name. Can be a name of maybe a given department. For example, if your devices are distributed per department, so it can be a name of different a given department. You can say, okay, I have departments. Maybe this is under sales, so you can say sysname sales, and then it becomes sales. Okay, like that. So this is the command. This is the router. Sorry, this is the argument. The moment you put this, the router understands you're trying to configure a system. For example, if right now I say, for example, let me jump right into what I wanted to explain. So there is also what we call, you also have to know where these commands are entered. Yes, I've said this IP address is a command, right? Plus the argument. This fulfills something. It configures an IP to an interface. But you have to know where exactly you're supposed to be in order to configure or to enter a given command. For example, this is valid, but if I enter it here, for example, if I say IP address, see, IP address like that, and I say 192.168.1.10, and I say 24 as I put it there, it's going to say unrecognized command. Okay, found at this marker here, found at that marker, which is this one here. Says from this part. Okay, I understand this. I understand this part, this one here, but I don't understand from this to here. Why does it understand this? Because this command, this first command here, IP, can stand for a couple of other commands. So if I say IP and I press question mark, you can see it has a lot. I can say IP pool, I can say IP policy based routing, I can say NQA compatible, netstream, local, like that. So I can say IP local, you see that? You say policy, you see that? So that it did understand the first one, right? The first command, but it not understand IP because within, sorry, it don't understand the address because within itself does not have that command. So if I press this, say no, unrecognized command, it doesn't understand that. So you have to understand where to run this command, right? You have to understand where to run that command. So that command to be run, it has to be configured under an interface. So you say interface because IPs are assigned to interfaces. For example, I can say interface VLAN if1, that is a virtual interface. We'll talk about those later on. So I say interface VLAN 1. So if I enter now this IP here, it is going to accept it. See, it's not giving me any errors. Why? Because now this command is being run or executed under the mode that accepts it. You get my point? Hope you understand me. Under the mode that accepts it. So you have to understand where to execute this. I need to run this command. Where am I supposed to run it? Is it supposed to be executed on an interface? Is it supposed to be executed in a globally on the device, something like that? Okay, just as I would come and say I need to enable something globally, for example, maybe telnet. I'll come and say telnet server enable. So the moment I do this, I've enabled telnet on the device. Okay, I've enabled telnet on the device. You can say telnet server has been enabled. All right, it's saying error here. It might show an error there because telnet was already enabled, something like that. Okay, I can say LDP enable, right? And then I've turned in a what? LDP. Okay, local layer link detection. I think that's it. That's what LDP is for, network discovery, like discovering devices on layer 2. So you can see your neighbor, the one you're connected to. We'll be looking at LDP later. So that is now general, globally enabling a command which affects the router or the device that you're working on globally or entirely. So that's it for that. So that is CLI. You have to understand the commands. It's not as the web system where you're just clicking. Okay, you're reading. Actually, you're reading. This they are requiring to configure an IP address. Oh, okay. Let me input the IP address. So you come and say 192.168, and then you press save, something like that. So this is easier actually, but it doesn't give you the full capability to manage the device. This does, depending on the level or the level of privilege that you have of that given device. Not all users created can have all the privileges. Normally, ones to system admins are the ones that will have all the privileges to make each and every changes on the device. So this mode implements refined device management, but requires users to be familiar with the commands. You have to be familiar with the commands. You have to understand the commands. If I want to do this, what command do I need? Where am I supposed to run this command? You have to understand all those things. So the CLI supports the console port, telnet, and the SSH login. Console port, it means you have that port there on the device, okay, where you're going to plug your cable straight from your computer, right, straight from your computer COM port to the COM port of the device that you want to manage, and then you access that device via the terminal emulation program. For example, I had one here that I opened. It was called for this one. Let me just open it again. Forever. Okay, for example, this one here, this is called no, this is called secure security. So like this one, secure security. So I can, you see, I can manage that device via secure security. Okay, so this is the terminal emulation program. So you have to have a console cable and a terminal emulation program, for example, like secure security here. And then and then you can also use telnet. Telnet is when you have like a service running on this device. For example, I have to have an active IP address on this device. For example, this router here. Okay, so this router here, I have to have an active connection, an active IP address configured on that device, and then telnet enabled and configured on the VTY lines. Just a moment, let me open. It's called what? Where's a pen? Epic pen. Okay, so you have to have an active IP address configured. Could be on a management interface, on maybe a physical interface, and then telnet has to be configured also here. Telnet enabled on the device. That is point number 2. And then point number 3, the VTY lines, virtual terminal lines, VTY lines configured. Okay, you have to have configured those ones there, and then you just have to connect your computer direct to that device, or maybe through a switch. Could be direct or through a switch. Your computer is here, for example, this is your computer here, and then you just have to, you know, enter a command like telnet. You just have to telnet from your computer, from your terminal emulation program, or from what? From your terminal emulation program, or from something like this. You just have to type like telnet, and then you enter the address. For example, maybe if I have the address of 192. I don't have any active one, so it's not gonna work. 168.1.10, for example, and then you press enter, and then it will telnet. Okay, so right now I think telnet is not enabled on my machine. That's why it's giving me this, because it's not enabled. I have to first enable it. It's not saying, it's not recognized name or CM, something like that. So it's not enabled on my machine. I have to first enable it in order to work. So these are some of the requirements, and that is for now telnet. Okay, and then we have also what we call SSH login. SSH is the same thing as Telnet. The difference is this is secure and this is non-secure. Okay, those are the differences. They're all used for remote access. This and this, SSH and Telnet, they're all used for remote access. The difference is this is secure, which means your connection and communication between you and the device you're accessing is encrypted. Okay, it is encrypted. This one is in plain text, which means if I have a network capture like Wireshark, I can capture traffic. Okay, I can capture the communication between the devices. So for example, if I want to, let me see, if I want to capture update, remind me later. So if I want to capture information here, I can capture some information. You can see UDP. I'm having a lot of UDP. I think even our TCP. This is, yeah, I understand this. This is now for, it is for Discord. It's using our TCP and real-time transport control protocol and UDP user diagram protocol for voice. All right, so yeah, I can use this and then I can decipher all the information from down here. I can see that. I can say share packet in window. Follow. Where is it? Yeah, follow UDP stream. Then I can check all the information there. If I were to capture Telnet traffic, I will get that username. Actually, I will read it. I think we'll do that with time to come. We'll do it. So that's it. SSH, just have to know SSH does the same job as Telnet. The difference is SSH is secure. All the communication, end-to-end communication between you and the device you're accessing, they're encrypted. And with Telnet, it is in plain text, which means if you have a man in the middle, hacker can get all the information on that device, or the credentials to log into that device. All right, next, VRP user interfaces. So when a user logs into a device through the CLI supported mode, the system allocates a user interface to manage and monitor the current session between the user terminal and the device. So such a user interface can be a console user interface or a virtual type terminal, the VTY user interface. Console user interface. A console user interface is used to manage and monitor users who log into a device through the console port. There is a physical port on the device. I don't know if I have some devices. Yeah, I wish I had. I don't know if I can see any from. Is there a possibility of seeing the physical? Let me see if I. Yeah. Okay. This is okay. This is great. I don't know if you can see this one. Yeah. If you can. Let me illustrate that. So, you see this one here? That is the console port. It's even written on console port. Okay. As a moment, it's written on here console port. This is a one port, like an FE port, fast Ethernet ports, the one you see there. And then these are all Ethernet ports, and then I do believe this is a GE port, if not FE port. Okay, but this one here is the Ethernet port. Sorry, it's an Ethernet port, but it's a console port for device management. So you plug your cable in here, and then you connect the other end of the cable to your computer somewhere. And then you have a terminal emulation program running on your computer. For example, you can have hyperterminal, which is no longer existing because it was a terminal. It was on Windows. Hyperterminal. We have secure CRT. We have an open source one called PuTTY. People say putty, party, whatever you want to, whichever way you want to pronounce it. We have which other one is there? There are many actually. There is one which is more of advanced. It has a lot of features. It's called mobile extam. You can download the standard version, the one meant for, it's called community version, I would say. This is also futuristic. This actually is more futuristic than any of the ones you have mentioned here. So this one is more futuristic. It has a lot of features. So that's what you do. Okay. Okay. And then so the serial port of a user terminal can be directly connected to the console port of the device for local access. So to use the console means of accessing the device or managing the device, you have to be where the device is. You cannot do this remotely now. You have to, the device has to be where you are, which means you're running the cable from your computer straight to the device that you're going to manage, router, switch, whatever it is, or access point. And then we have management via the VTY user interfaces. So the VTY user interface is used to manage and monitor users who log into a device by means of the VTY interfaces. VTY interfaces are found on these devices. For example, if I'm to go to this router here and display CU include, for example, I just want to VTY. Okay, sorry, these ones here. So these are the interfaces we have. This has about 21 interfaces, user interfaces, virtual terminal or line interfaces. So beginning from 0 up to 20, those will be a total of 21. I don't know if it's confusing to some people because they are saying 20 there. So it is from 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 up to 20. So if you're to say 1 to 20, those will be 20 plus the 1 at 0, those will be 21. So don't get confused. Okay. So if I am to ask you how many user interfaces are 0 to 4, in total those will be 5 user interfaces. Okay, not 4, because you count from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if I'm to count all of these, this will be a port 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this will be a total of 5 VTY user interfaces. So it begins with VTY 0. That's why if I'm to just a moment. That's why if I'm to type here, if I go to system view and I say user interface, not user group, user interface VTY 0, it accepts because it begins from 0. If I say user interface VTY, let me say 20, it accepts. But if I say 21, it's not going to accept because there is no user interface identified as 21. So when I say there are 21 user interfaces, don't say, okay, I have user interface VTY 21. No, it doesn't exist. Why I'm saying 21 is because it begins from 0 up to 20. So if you're to count from 0 to 20, those will be 21 figures. So that's why I'm saying that. So the last valid user interface will be 20. Okay. All right. Okay. So the VTY user interface is used to manage and monitor users who log into the device by means of the VTY. So after Telnet or S-Telnet, now Huawei uses S-Telnet, but it's SSH in short. Okay, it is SSH. Huawei doesn't call it SSH on their devices. It's called S-Telnet. So it's either Telnet or S-Telnet. S-Telnet, whenever I say S-Telnet, just think SSH. Okay, secure shared. So after a Telnet or S-Telnet connection is established between a user terminal and a device, a VTY channel is established to implement remote access to the device. So it is remote access, which means with Telnet or SSH, you can, for as long as there is service running, which means all devices are reachable, and you've enabled telnet or SSH on the device, or telnet on the device, that means I can be any place, anywhere in the world, and I can manage that device. So let's say maybe I'm on a holiday. Let's say they have given me a holiday. Maybe I've taken my annual leave, but then there is something crucial that is happening and they need my input. I can remotely connect that device without having to go. For as long as I do have the authorization to do that. Everything goes with authorization. I think Emmanuel Gard knows that. Everything goes with authorization. Customer networks, if he accepts, says it's okay for him, he can remotely get into my network and correct a problem or solve any issue that has arisen. Yeah, you can remotely connect that device and manage that device without you having to move a foot. Okay, so that is telnet. It is for remote. Telnet and STelnet, it's for remote connection to those devices, and you should be able to manage them. So we have VRP user levels. User levels is what I said as privileges, level privileges, or privilege levels. So VRP provides basic permission control functions. It defines the levels of commands that each level of user can execute to restrict the operation of users at different levels. For example, you can be in a company where you have your junior IT engineer who is supposed to report to you, or maybe is just learning from you. So it is not wise to give that person a privilege that maybe require making a change on that device. Maybe you can just give them monitoring level. They can just where they can just see, view, maybe execute commands that are just for displaying device statuses, or maybe pinging or given device to see if it's reachable, something like that. And there are those who can make changes on the device for configuration levels. So we do have different levels. So we have level 0, which is more like the visit level. So the available commands are the diagnosis commands, such as ping, traceroute commands for accessing external devices from the local devices, such as telnet client commands, and some display commands. So not all commands will be available at level 0. Then we have users level 1. That is between user level 1 has the privileges of user level 0. Okay, so user level 1 is at the monitoring level. It is for system maintenance commands, including display commands. Then we have user level 2. User level 2 has the levels of user level 1 and user level 0 accompanied with the privileges of user level 2, and that is the configuration level. That means this guy can make changes on this device. So service configuration commands, including routing commands and IP configuration commands, to directly provide users with network services. So if you're level 2, you can do configurations. And then level 3 to 15, that is the management level. You have your levels at that you have all the privileges at that level, and you also have privileges of level 0 to level 2. That is now the management level. Commands for controlling basic system operations and providing support for services, including the file system, FTP, TFTP download, user management, and command level commands, as well as debugging commands for fault diagnosis. If you want to debug, debugging is more like testing. It's more like live testing to see, as errors or things happen. For example, you can debug routing and see how communication happens between this device to the other device, or you can debug a routing protocol to see the message exchange before the routing table is populated. Okay, so those are the preview levels. So if you're level 3 and above, because the highest level is 15, you also need to excuse me, you need to note these levels. The highest level is 15. So if you're level 3 and above, or up to level 15, level 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up to level 15, then you're on the management level. If you're level 2, you're on configuration level. Level 1 on monitoring level. Level 0 is a visit level. This is more or less, you can do much here. Here you're just monitoring, you can issue some display commands, or here level 2, you're on configuration level, which means you can make changes on the devices on the configuration basis just to provide services. You won't touch anything managerial. Okay, and then level 3 to 15, that's when you're on management level. So if you're at this level, you can literally do anything to this device. Okay, you can make all the changes that you need on that device. Excuse me. So logging into the web system, take the web system for a Huawei AI router as an example. Start a browser on a PC, enter the address of the device, either HTTP or HTTPS depending on the vendor. Okay, so some vendors will restrict HTTP access and only support HTTPS. So you enter the address of the device in the address bar and then you press enter. Then the web system login page is displayed. For example, this one. Now this will be for the AI router. So you enter the username and then the password, and then you can change the language if you want here, and then you press enter there, and then okay, enter or login, and then it will log you into the device. Right? So it means you're either connecting through a LAN, which means this could be a LAN, a couple of switches here, or a single switch, and then that switch is the one connecting to the router, or it's you connecting from your computer straight to where was that? From your computer straight to the router interface. Okay, can be any of the two. Then logging through the CLI. You have to have a console cable. For example, that cable there. Okay, it has to be a console cable. This is a 9-pin connector which connects at the end of the computer. So this is called a COM port. Okay, or a POS. It's called a COM port. Okay, so this connector here, this DB9, connects to that port there, right? And then the other end is an RJ45 connector, which connects to the RJ45 port on the device, which is the console port. For example, I do believe it's this one here. Okay, so this end here connects here, right? This is where you put your memory card. Here you can put your USB cards, USB memory sticks. Okay, this could be a USB type A connector. It's more like also a console. It's a type A connector. I know most of you know these as SCART connectors. For those, if you remember those, the first smartphones we had, even not even smartphones, even these other normal button phones, you could, the chargers used to come with this kind of, they call it SCART. So not smart, the smart SCART, and I think the other one's called what? I'm not certain. I remember the name, but I'm not certain. So yeah, you can connect via this cable if you have it. You need a special software in order for that to work. So you can manage this device via the console port, which is this port, RJ45 connector, or via this port, which is a USB type A connector. All right, you can log into the device in a local or remote mode. Local login mode, use this mode when you need to configure a device that is powered on for the first time. Okay, because all devices don't come configured, so it's powered on for the first time. You have to manage it via the console port. You cannot manage it remotely via the SSH or telnet, or what we calls S-telnet. So you can use the console port of the device for a local login. That means you have to be where the device is. So the console port is a serial port provided by the main control board of a device. To implement the login directly, connect your terminal's serial port, which is this one here. That's serial port. Directly connect your terminal serial port to the device's console port. So you connect this to here, and then that part to this port here. All right. and use PuTTY to log into the device. PuTTY is the emulation software. This one here. That is the emulation. That is the emulation software. Right? So PuTTY to log into the device. You can then configure the device after the login succeeds. So you console to the device and you log into it. So like here, when I go to here and I say I can say console. I know this is virtual, so you don't see me physically consoling to the device, but it's more like you console to the device, and then it opens in PuTTY, and then you're able to manage it. As you can see now, I can do things on a device. Let me check this device here if it finished the boot up. Oh, still going. There's a problem here with the power system. Let me see this. Let me check out this one. They all seem to be having an issue. I'll sort that out later. Okay, so something like that. So PuTTY is the emulation program. You just have to connect your DB9 end of your console cable to the POS or the serial port here, and then the other end of the, which is an RJ45 connector, is an 8-pin to the console port. CLI login. This is it. This is the PuTTY bit of it. For example, let me just show you that. I don't know, do I have PuTTY here? I think I should be. PuTTY. Like I don't have it here. But let me use secure CRT. Let me open this one here. So like I would open secure CRT here, and then I'll say connect. Oh, this has connected to no. I don't want you to connect to this. I'll just come to session manager, and I'll say plus, and what do I want to use? I want to use SSH or Telnet, so I have to change. SSH version 2, version 1. Do I want to use Telnet? Is it Telnet with TLS? Okay. Is it local shell? Do I need to use RDP? Is it a serial? Now in this case, if I'm using a console cable, I have to choose serial, right? I have to choose serial, and then I have to press next, and then now I need to choose the COM port where my console cable is connected. So it should say COM1. If it's COM1, then I'll choose COM1, and I'll choose the bitrate. Okay, choose the bitrate. Normally the bitrate is 9600, not the other way around. With console connections, it's 9600. Okay, like just as you see it here, just as you see it like here. Okay, it is normally set to that 9600. Then data bits 8, parity none, and stop bits 1. The moment you have this, you can access the device. At least for Cisco device, I'm very sure this is it. The bonding rate is 9600, and the data bits 8, parity set to none, and then stop bits set to that. And then after that, you just have to click on next, and then just asking for the session name. Session name can be anything you want. You can even give it a description, and then you say finish. The moment you do that and there is a connection here, you just press enter, and then you'll be able to access that device. Right now it's not showing anything because there's nothing connected. I don't have any console connected there, and it's not connecting to any device, so that's why it's not giving me any output here. Just a blank output there. Okay, I'll go next. So with CLI remote login, it means you're going to use SSH, just as I'll use another one here. So this time around I'm going to use mobile. I'm going to use mobile extern. So this is also a time emulation program, but this is more advanced. It has a lot of features. It has more features than any of the others that I know of. So Then you can say sessions, and then you can choose, is it SSH, is it Telnet, RSH, XDM, CP, RDP, VNC, FTP, in any of the one you choose. The other time it was the console, you choose serial. So you choose which COM port you're going to use. Okay, you choose the COM port depending on where your cable is connected, then the bond rate or the speed in bits per second. But in this case, if you're using Telnet, if you're using remote login, that means you're gonna have to use SSH, where you're gonna provide the IP address of the device you want to reach, and maybe specify the username if you want. But this is not mandatory. This is you can leave this, this alone. Just as you see here, it's only the IP being supplied. But this one is also asking for username. So this is optional. You can choose not to put the username, but just put the IP address of the device that you're telnetting. We'll look at telnet and SSH later on in details. And then we have telnet. Telnet is the unsecure version of SSH. SSH is the secure version. So telnet, you just have to input the remote host, or you can put the username, right? And then the port number. So these are important. What is important here is the just a moment. So what is important here is the host name, the remote host, which is the IP address. For example, I can say 192.168.1.10. that is the IP, and the port number. It is very important. So if I put this and I change this port number to maybe 50, it's not going to work, because telnet is specified, or it is its service runs on this port number here, port 23. That is for telnet. For SSH, it specifically runs on port 22. It doesn't run on any other port. This is the port assigned or attributed to each protocol. For example, telnet to here, and then SSH to this one here. Okay, so this port number is important. If I go to SSH, you see now the port number is 22, because those are well-known port numbers, right? They are well-known port numbers. Those port numbers were assigned to different services or different protocols. For example, I think port 50. Port 50. Let me see if I remember very well. Is port 50 for DNS? No, I'm certain, but I remember like it's for DNS. Port 25 is for, I think it's SNMP, if I'm not mistaken. Port 80, everyone should be knowing that. That is HTTP. Port 443, that will be HTTPS. That's secure with secure shape. It's secure. No, with SSL. Secure socket link, I think. All right. That's it. Let me go next. So after login succeeds, the command line interface is displayed like this. So you will get something like this after the CLI. That is with the console cable. You just have your console cable straight to the console port, and then you will get this CLI here, just as you would have it in this scenario here. Okay, like here. All right, then next topic is on command line basics. So we have the command line basics, we have the command word, the keyword, and then we have the parameter or the value, the parameter name and then a value. So the command word specifies the operation to be executed in a command, such as display. So if I say display, it means the device, I need to query the device status, or reboot, or if I say reboot, it means I need to restart the device. So we have what we call a keyword, which is a special character string that is used to further restrict a command. It is an extension of a command and can also be used to express the command composition logic. So parameter list is composed of a parameter names and values to further restrict the command function. So it can contain one or more pairs of parameter names and values. For example, if I say display, okay, if I say display, it's a command word, which is the command. Display is the command. IP, okay, that could be a keyword, all right? And then I say interface, all right? You getting it? Now this could be a parameter list. This would be the parameter that I want to display. So I have command, okay, I have the keyword, because display can be used to display a lot of things. If I'm to go back here and I say display, just a second, oh, did I that go off? So if I say display, I'm gonna say display, let me just try to maximize this a bit. So if I say display and I hold question mark, you're going to see question mark is a help syntax to show you what is all the commands under that specific command that you've run. So I can say display AAA, the AAA, display access user, display accounting scheme, display ACL, display actual, ADP, IPv4. There is a lot, okay? So that is a command. Now I need to be specific. What command do I want? That is what we call the keyword. What is the keyword that you want? Because there are many which are under display. So if I say display, okay, and I say IP, okay, right, there are this is a keyword, all right. Excuse me. This is a keyword, but it also has other keywords under it. So which IP? IP of what? I need to specify another keyword. IP interface. So if you say IP interface, what interface? We have a lot of interfaces, okay? All right, interfaces. I can say brief. That means I need to have brief information about some interfaces. I can say brief information of VLAN if maybe one VLAN or Ethernet 0/0/ something, but I can also enter from there, and then I can have brief information about the interfaces, specifically ones that can be assigned an IP. For example, if I look here, I have VLAN interface 1 and it's already having an IP here, and I can see the status of those status of that interface, that specific interface there. All right, so we have an Ethernet interface and it has no IP. We have a VLAN if interface and it has a default IP of 192.168.1.10. I think this is me configured, not default, because I remember configuring this. So I configure that IP there the other time when I was showing you. But then it shows the physical status is down and the protocol status is down, which means there is no cable connected here. There's no connectivity. All right. So that's what it means. So example 2, if I say reboot, restarts a device. This restarts a device. A command word is reboot. Each operation command must start with a command word, and the command word is selected from the standard command word list. So which means this device was already programmed, okay, before it gets out of the warehouse or manufacturing house, I would say. So it comes when it is being programmed. You need to support this number of commands. Let's say maybe 10,000. Okay, 10,000 commands. If you put an extra command that it doesn't understand, it's just gonna tell you, no, I don't understand that. This is non-recognized. I cannot recognize that command. I don't know it because I wasn't programmed to understand that command that you're trying to enter. You get me? For example, if I'm to come and say, for example, if I'm to come to a Huawei device and I say, with Cisco, we say enable to move from that mode. Okay. If I say enable, it's going to reject it. If I enter that on a Cisco device, for example, if I come to a Cisco device here, let me open this one, yeah? Let me clear this. So, if I'm to say enable, okay, Cisco device understands that. It's not giving me any error. If I'm to go back here, what was that? If I'm to go back here and I say, okay, I enter the correct one, it's going to accept it because it was it was programmed to understand that command. If I say system or system view, it's going to accept it. Okay, I know some people will say I'm just saying system, Okay, the full command is called system view, system-view. I'm just using short forms because it understands it. So if I say system view, it understands it. If I, from that mode, for Cisco to, in order to go to a configuration global configuration mode, you say configure terminal. If I enter it on a Huawei device, it doesn't understand it because it wasn't programmed to understand it. Okay, but if I go back to a Cisco device and I say config terminal, okay, and I enter, it's going to accept it because it was programmed to understand that. Even on Cisco device, if I say system or sysname, for example, to configure system name, system, it's not going to accept it. It's going to say, I think you're trying to find something or translate a name. Okay, let me translate sysname and no, unknown command or computer name or unable to find computer address. I don't know that, so sorry. You get? So these devices are pre-programmed with commands that they can support. They know. You get me? So just know that these devices come when they're programmed with those commands. So those given commands are supposed to be specific, not any command that really pops up in your head that it will work. So you have to understand these commands. So each operation command must start with a command word, and the command word is selected from the standard command word list. Standard means what was programmed on that device. The commands that that device was programmed to respond to. Okay? To, I would say, positively respond to, not negatively. Positively respond to. So we have the command view. We have what we call the user view. The user view is the first view that you have or you get when you boot up a Huawei device, which is this view here. All right. This view here, when you see the host name or the system name plus those symbols there, that's what we call the user view. From the user view, we have what we call the system view. So this one here, let me note it from here. This is what we call the user view. And then if you want to move from the user view, we say, just a second, I'll first go back. No. So if you want to get from the user view, you say system dash view, right? And then you enter. When you enter that, it changes from these symbols here, all right, from those symbols there to these, are they called curly brackets? Are those curly brackets or what? I'm not certain, but you know the brackets. See, it changes to those brackets. So this one here is what we call the system view. So Huawei has the major views are these: the user view and the system view. User view, you can't do much. It's more like for diagnosis. Am I writing incorrect? There's an A missing here. Diagnosis and maybe verification. I'm sorry for writing, going up. Verification. And then the system view is where much of the configurations are done. Okay, configurations that affect the router as a whole. Okay, are done from the system view. Then we have what we call specific views. Those specific views are specific on what task you're configuring or what task you're doing. Okay, so we have those views. For example, if I want to configure an interface, we're gonna go into the interface view. For example, if I go for example, I say interface Ethernet or ETH trunk 1, and then I go now in ETH trunk mode. Now what we call that ETH trunk mode, okay, or interface mode, whatever it is. No, those are specific views. So we have the user view and the system view. Those are the major two views for Huawei. So the user view, in this view, you can check the running status and statistics of the device. You cannot configure. Okay. And then we have the system view. In this view, you can set system parameters and enter the configuration views of other commands. And then we have the other views, which are the specific views. In other views, such as the interface view and protocol view, you can set interface parameters and protocol parameters. So they are specific to a task that you're performing, not each and everything. So if I'm under the interface view, I can configure, for example, the IP address of an interface, some of other parameters, but I cannot set the name. Okay, I cannot set. Okay, with Huawei VRP, you can. For example, if let me just go back here. If I'm here under that, I can say, hopefully I'm not going to be ashamed, I can say sysname. I can say sysname, and I maybe call it this marketing. Hopefully it works. I remember like it works. Yeah, it works. So you can see I can configure the system from this mode. It will just jump me straight back to the mode that I'm supposed to be in to configure this. So you can see this changes. So with Huawei, it's different. If I'm to go back to Cisco, here is Cisco. I'm going to go into this mode. You see, Cisco is very specific actually with their things. So if I'm to go to Cisco and I say to configure the name, I have to say host name. For Cisco, command is host name. So if I say host name and I'm gonna say, let's say I call it Cisco, right? If I'm to go under the interface, let me first say do show IP address brief. Okay, first Ethernet 00. So if I to go under the interface fs*0, and I run this command, hostname Cisco. Oh wait, did it just accept it? How? Actually no, I think it's no. Even with Cisco it's working. That is new. No, it used not to accept that. Let me first go back there and I say hostname, let me change it to use not to accept. Actually it would just give you, which iOS version is this? I'm gonna have to check. Hostname, for example, let me say from Cisco to class. Actually it works. That is new. That is, sometimes it would just show you an error. It would just actually show you an error. I'm surprised that it's taking me back to the global configuration mode where I'm configuring the hostname. It would just give you an error. It wouldn't allow you to configure a hostname from interface mode. It would just show you an error and say, I don't understand that command. I think let me say show version. Is it version 12.24 release? Maybe in this version it was modified, but it used not to accept that. From what I remember, when I used to tinker with a lot of Cisco devices, it used not to accept you to configure like hostname from the interface view, interface configuration mode. No, but yeah, you can make those changes from. You can run any command from any. The only thing that will not happen is, for example, if I'm under the interface, for example, if trunk1, I cannot say sysname and I use the auto completion function, which is the tab key on your keyboard, to complete the command. I cannot do that because that mode is it doesn't understand. You have to type the whole command by yourself. So if I'm in this mode and I say sys and I press the tab key, it is going to auto complete it for me. You can check that. Okay, sysname and it auto completes it for me. If I say int for interface and I press auto complete, it's going to complete it for me. Interface. Okay, I know you've been seeing me typing just initials, and then at the end of the, within seconds you're seeing the whole command. Like maybe say int press enter, you see interface. You're like, hey, where did that come from? That is just auto completion. I'm just using the auto completion key on your keyboard or shortcut on your keyboard, which is the tab key. Tab key auto completes the command for as long as you provided some substantial number of letters for that given command. Then the router will understand it. For example, if I say it might not you see, it's now giving me options because there are many commands that start with I. So you say IGMP, IKE, info center, it's giving me a lot. So if to be specific and I want interface or I want ICMP, I'll say ICMP, and then it will just give me ICMP, anything with ICMP. Okay, that is the auto completion. Back to this. Time is really running out. Oops, it's already. Sorry guys. Hang on, I finished this. I know time has already flown, so I'm gonna skip showing you anything practical so that I finish this thing here. So the command views, I think I've already talked about this. We have the view, we have the user view, we have the system view. Okay, user view, it is depicted with this. What is between these symbols, there's less than sign, greater than sign of, if I'm not mistaken, is the host name. This host name can be anything you want, okay? Not Huawei. Huawei is default, just as you did see. Where was that? Was it here? I have to go back. It's not showing. Okay, I changed it to sales here, but you see from sales I changed it to marketing. See, now it's marketing. So that can be anything, okay? That's just the host name, the name. So this will tell you the moment you see the host name plus these greater than, less than symbols, that you in this user view, if you see these in brackets, then that these are square brackets actually, not curly brackets. So if you see them in square brackets, then you're in the system view. Okay, then from the system view you can go under the interface view or the protocol view. Okay, protocol view, like, well, you're configuring OSPF as a protocol, routing protocol, and so on. All right, I'm not going to go into the details down here. The explanation is just enough. Editing a command, you can edit a command. You can use shortcuts or keywords. For example, Control+B. If I'm to go, problem, this guy does not allow me. So if I say system name, I can say Control+B. You can see that. You can see I'm pressing Control+B on my keyboard and it's coming back. It's more like deleting. Okay, so if I'm to, and I say Control+B, you can see it's just getting back. Left cursor moves the cursor one character to the left. This is just deleting, and anyway, it was supposed to just move the character behind, not deleting. When the cursor reaches the beginning of the command, an alarm is generated. Then we have the right cursor key. Okay, left cursor, it is more like, if I say Control+B, it's more like me pressing. If you know the navigation keys on your keyboard, the arrow keys, those are the navigation keys. If I say the left one, it's more like moving it like this. So if I use Control+B, it is actually not meant to delete. It is just meant to move it. Though here with this simulator, it's just deleting, which is not correct. Okay, then right cursor key. I can say Control+F, which moves the cursor one character to the right. The other one moves to the right, that is Control back. Control+B means control back, backwards, moving backwards. Then Control+F, Control+F, that moves forward. So moves the cursor one character to the right. When the cursor reaches the end of the command, an alarm is generated. So incomplete keyword input, I can use incomplete keywords. I can say D for display. Okay, you can say DCU, for example. Let me just say for short for display CU. I can say DCU, which is short for display CU, and the router will understand it. You say, oh, you mean display CU. It is the same thing as saying display current configuration, like that. Okay, so you can just instead of writing, having you having to write all this, you can just say DCU, okay, or DICU, like that. Okay, and then it display the commands for you. Or DC, and you can actually use DC on some platforms. Might not work. I can say DC. You see now this one is not working. So DC, some platforms doesn't work. So on some devices it will show you an error, like an ambiguous command. You can see it says This is an ambiguous command. You've provided ambiguous means you've provided less of the characters for the device to understand. It says, oh, you say D and then you say C. No, I don't understand that. But if you say D and then you say CU, at least you would understand. CU is short for current configurations. And D, so if you say D and then CU, it means you want to see the current configurations, and then it will give you that. Okay. Like here, display, and then you say C. If I say display and I say C instead of CU, still it will share. You provided less characters because C can mean anything. Okay, C can mean anything. If we to go in, I say this, and I say I'm gonna say C, and I press the question mark. You'll see I have a lot of key commands or keywords that begin with C, like calibrate, cap, warp, channel. So it's like you need to provide something more than that for me to understand what you really want, because I got CPU, I got CPOs, I get controller, config, clock, CPU usage, current configuration. So I don't know what you really want. So if I say CU, it's because I only have one command begins with CU. So if I say CU, it will run it. If I had two commands beginning with CU, still it will give me this error here. Okay, ambiguous command. Because now when I say this and I add the CU, it will automatically understand, because within the commands that the router has, okay, it has only one command that begins with CU, which is current configuration, like that. Okay. Editing command, when you press the tab key, it auto completes the command for you. If you say info, then you press the auto completion tab key, which is the tab key shortcut, which is the tab key. Then you need to auto complete it for you, like info center. You say info dash and auto complete command, key on your keyboard, which is the tab key, which is the button on top of the caps lock or after caps lock as you're going up. That is the tab key. So that is auto completion. It will auto complete the commands for you. And then using command line, online help. The online help is using the question mark. You've seen me doing this already. So you just have to, you don't have to enter command. You can say, okay, I'm under this mode and I want to know all the commands under the user view, which is that one. And then if you just press the command, just press shift and a question mark, and then you see all the commands under that mode. If you go to the system view, you can do the same thing. I want to see all the commands under system view. You just press shift question mark, and then you see all the commands under the system view. You can see there are lots and lots of commands under system view. Okay. User view commands, you can see all those commands there. Partial help, you can say, now this is full help. Okay, if you don't enter any command, this is full help. And for partial help, you can say, okay, I want to see commands that begin with D, and then you say D, then full stop question mark, and then it will show you all the commands begin with D. Even if it's with C, then just C, then shift question mark. It's show you all the commands begin with C. That is now the partial help. So interpreting command line error messages. If you see you type something like sysname, you say error incomplete. So if I say sysname and I enter, for example, if I say sysname and I press enter, it's going to give me an error here. It will say the command is incomplete. Why? Because you've just entered the command. There is no keyword, and there's keyword or there's no argument, right? So it expects an argument after command. This is just a command. So after this command, it is expecting an argument which you're supposed to provide. All right. So this is it. A supplement needs to be made at the position pointed by the arrow. So there is something that's needed. That's why it says this is incomplete. Something is missing. For example, if I say router, okay, IF, I say da 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 da. So it's not understanding router. All right, IF. No, unrecognized command found at the position. So an identification failure occurs at the position pointed by the arrow. Check whether the command is correct. So if you say router IF, in this scenario actually router is correct, because if I do enter from the system view, if I say router, no, not router is correct. But if I say IF, that is incorrect because it doesn't assign anything to do with IF. So if I say router OSPF, router RIP, I say router RIP is for Cisco. This is for just ID. Okay. So if I say router ID and then I provide the ID, then it's gonna accept that. But if I say router, if I just put IF, it's not understanding what IF means because it doesn't understand it's a command. So it will say no, that is unrecognizable. But as the command as router, that is valid. Okay. So if I say router ID and then I specify the ID, it's gonna accept that because if I say 1.1.1.1 like that, it takes that, it accepts it. So this is correct. It's not giving me any error. It's saying router ID has been modified. Please reset the relative protocols manually. Update the router ID. We'll look at router IDs and the importance of router IDs later when we come to routing protocols. But I'll just put in that just to show you. If I say router and then the right command or the right argument that is expected, you will see it's not going to give you an error. But if I say IF, because it doesn't understand what IF means, it's just going to show you the error. So if you say OSPF, then cost under the interface, it's not going to accept it because the parameter value at the position pointed by the arrow is invalid. It doesn't accept this. Okay, it doesn't accept this, which means the syntax of this command is wrong. Okay, the syntax of the command is wrong. So wrong parameter found at this position. It says at this position I don't understand what you really want. Okay, I don't understand what you really want, so it gives you that error. So if you get an identification failure occurs at the position, this marker here, that means there is an error, something that is not recognizable. In this case says, okay, I could understand router, but if you say IF, I don't know what that means. So it indicates you have to correct that error. So you have to be keen and look at that. If you say A and then you just press enter, it says no, this is ambiguous. Ambiguous means you've not provided enough information for me to know what exactly you want. Okay, it's more like someone coming to you and you're like, do you know, and then you keep quiet. I really don't know what you want. You get? It's more like coming to a shop and you're like, I want, then you end there. So you've not given someone a clue of what exactly you want. So if you add maybe I want something that does that is used to maybe comb, someone could be like, oh, you need a comb, or maybe you need a brush, something like that. So that is giving a clue. So in this case, this is ambiguous because A can stand for anything. If I'm to go back here and I say A and I press question mark, oh, I think there is no command that starts with A. Yeah, there is no command that starts with A here. Let me see A here. No, this is also ambiguous. Oh, this is ambiguous also. So there's no command that starts with A. If I say S, which is short for save. So if I say S and I press this, there are a couple of commands that starts with that. But if I say S and I enter, it's going to say ambiguous. Okay, it's going to say ambiguous. This is ambiguous. I don't know how some people pronounce it. I pronounce it ambiguous. People say ambiguous. So whatever it is, for as long as you understand what that means. So ambiguous or ambiguous. So that means you've provided insufficient information for me to understand what you want, because what you provided can stand for a lot of things. Okay, can stand for a lot of things. Okay, next, using the undo command lines. Undo is reverting. Okay, undo is reverting from what you did. For example, if I'm in system view and say undo system, that takes me back to the default, right? So if I undo system, it means I'm undoing the system name, what I configured. I want to go back to the default, so it takes me back to the default username, right? So undo means you're saying no to something. Say I say system, oh sorry, I say system maybe Cisco, oh okay, Cisco, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to do it. Let me just go back to, I say undo system name, and then it takes me back to the default. So undoing is just saying I don't want this. For example, if I say FTP server enable, if I want to disable it, I'll say undo FTP server enable. I think undo FTP server enable. Let me see if that command is complete. If I say FTP server enable and enter, and I say undo FTP server, does it enter? Yeah, that's it. So that's closing it. And I say telnet server enable, and then if I want to say, I'll say undo telnet server enable, and then I've turned it off. So it's, I would say this is the positive, sorry, this is the positive, this is the negative, or this is the reverse of the other one. So if I want to turn it on, it is telnet server enable. If I want to turn it off, I have to say undo. Or if I want to you know the call what in Office or something, where you say redo or undo or redo. Yeah, same thing here. So if I want to, maybe I've made a mistake, I'll say undo, just to take something back to what it was before me making that change. Okay, let me go to next. Time is running out. Are people still here? Let me check. I still have a few people here, at least 3. Who are these? Who are these champions here?
We're around.
I know it's actually what? Wait a second. What time is it? Is my computer lying to me? Oh, it's already 11. Sorry guys, let me clear this chapter and I close. I want you to wake up tomorrow by 10. We start on something else. Oh, I end here. You tell me. I clear or I end here? Actually,
How many slides are left?
we're still having a chapter to go through, and that one is more practical. So I'm gonna end on this slide here. So this one, because this one is on basic configuration commands like navigations and so I need to show you this as I'm talking about it. I need to show you it practically within ENSPO. So I'm gonna end on this one. Using command line shortcuts. These are shortcuts. A device provides command shortcuts, shortcut keys to speed up and simplify command input. So command shortcuts, shortcut keys are classified into user-defined shortcut keys and system shortcut keys. So user-defined shortcut keys are like Control O, Control U, Control G. Someone should mute their microphone. I think that reverb is becoming resulting from someone having the microphone open. Like Control G, Control L, Control Z, for example. I would say this you can associate a user-defined shortcut key with any command. After you press a shortcut key, the system will automatically run the command and associate command associated with a shortcut key. With Cisco, it's called aliases. For example, here, if I say hotkey control dash this, will display TCP status. Okay, you get. So I can say, let me see if ENSP does allow that. I'm uncertain if it does, but let me see if it does. If I say hotkey, oh, I think it does. Control hotkey. Let me say control CTRL. plus, okay, I said dash dash a. That one will display, oh, wrong parameter. Why is it showing me? Okay, let me just say, oh, it's expecting something specific. Control plus G, okay, it's expecting something specific or program into it. Control plus G, what does it, what is the string? For example, if I say, let me say control dash U, that looks more familiar. Control plus U will display, let's say that one will be like saying display CU, something like that, when I enter. So if I say control U, oh sorry, there is a problem. Control U, there is a misspelling here. It is display, like that. There's a Y here. Okay, that's correct spelling. So if I say control U, you see that? It automatically does the magic for me, okay? Instead of me having to type display CU, I will just press, let me just maximize this a little. I'll just press control U like this on my keyboard, and it will display the command for me. On Cisco, it's called alias. Just have to say alias. Okay, it's called alias. So alias, then you specify which alias you want to use. So I would say alias this, and I specify okay, this is the alias I want to use for displaying this, or maybe displaying CPU, or displaying a crypto ICAM, internet key messaging protocol group, or something like that. Okay, back to this. Then we have what we call system shortcut keys, like Control A moves the cursor to the beginning of the current line. Control B moves the cursor or one character to the left. I've already discussed that. Control C stops the running of the current command. For example, if I've said ping, I can stop it. For example, if I say, I'm gonna ping, it's not active, but let me just ping. So I say ping 10.10.10.10, that doesn't exist. If I say Control C, that will have to stop. Oh, this thing is not stopping. Okay, so you can see it terminates. Okay, it terminates the pings. All right, it terminates the pings. It terminates the command, or the execution of the command. Then Control E moves the cursor to the end of the current line. Control X deletes all characters on the left of the cursor. Control Y deletes the characters at the cursor and all characters on the right of the cursor. Then Control Z returns to the user view. Okay, for example, if you see I'm in system view, so if I want to go to user view, I can press Control and letter Z, and you can see it has taken me back to the user view. And then Control plus, Control plus the closing square bracket terminates the current connection or switches to another connection. So I think this is okay for today.